Great. So, a really warm welcome to everyone who is joining us today, whether it's for your first time or whether you have been here before. Thank you so much for giving us your time, and do please let us know if you've brought any questions along. I am Ruth Taylor. I'm the nutritionist with the Boots Online Doctor and also a registered nurse, and have been working in the whole health arena since I was 18 and in the world of lifestyle medicine for the last sort of 15 or more years. So, really enjoy being part of the Boots Online Doctor team and supporting you very much on your weight loss journeys. And we love bringing these webinars to you every Monday lunchtime. Just to let you know, if you've got any very clinically orientated questions about your own health, then we will direct you back to your GP or to your healthcare provider. But apart from that, we're very keen to take your questions and to support you. And I'm joined very much today by my colleague Alison. Alison, do you want to say hello?
I will do, yes. Sorry, Ruth. Adna's just said about sharing the slides. They're not on the screen. I didn't know if you were
That's
aware.
most peculiar. Oh, okay. It must be because. Thanks, Adna. Right, give me a minute, everyone. They seem to have done a disappearing act, which is very helpful. While you're saying hello, I will do a little bit of a shimmy
Sure.
around and see what's going on with my
They were
life.
they were on there before.
Yeah, I know that's most peculiar, isn't it?
Okay, right. I'm Alison Taylor Lamb. Good afternoon to you all. I'm a nurse and have been working with Boots for just over 4 years. So I've been very much involved in the weight loss service since that time, and answered many messages from many of our customers, queries. And I've recently, since January, got involved in these webinars as well, which has been a really lovely experience, I have to say. I do enjoy them, and I also have experience with children as well, overweight children, and helping parents to support children with their weight loss as well and keeping healthy.
Excuse me, everyone, while we get this right. Hopefully, this should work. Yep. Is that looking better, everyone? But I've now lost the webinar. Hello?
We're still here, Ruth, but no slides yet.
How peculiar. This is so weird. All right, let's give it a go. I think we should now be good. All right, we're there. Fantastic. Perfect. Thank you. Like a rookie, a new starter. Well, makes no sense to me, but that's how life goes. And thank you to Adna. She's here supporting us, thank goodness, with all of our IT glitches. So thanks, Adna, for being here. Adna is part of the Boots Online Doctor pharmacy technician team, I believe. Do correct me if I'm wrong, Adna. And we really rely on the support. So, yeah, a very warm welcome. Let's get started. Let's see, how have you got on over the last week? Really interested to hear from you. How's your last week been? Was anyone here at the webinar last week? I believe you were talking all about metabolism, how to boost your metabolism, looking at food and movement. So would love to hear from you in the chat box. Just let us know if you've managed to make any changes. Thanks, Carol. Nice to be back as well. Had a nice week off last week, I have to say. Um,
You'll miss Ruth when you're not here.
Isn't that funny? Isn't that nice? It's good to be missed sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. So, and we're just asking you out of curiosity and also just so we know what's going on for you, which phase of your weight loss journey you are on now. We're sharing a poll just to let you know we only see numbers, we don't see any specific information relating to you yourself personally. It just helps us to know because we're keen to support you at whichever stage you are on in your weight loss. It's really easy to see and really helpful to see the mix where everyone is. And for those people who are just starting out, this is all about building the foundations. For those who are midway, who are the bulk of the people who are with us today, it's about staying consistent, even when your progress slows down. And for those who are maintaining, then it's all about mindset, isn't it? It's all about keeping all of those things going and keeping that mindset really working for you. And we are 100% here to support you on these journeys. There is no right or wrong. We're all really wired differently. It's about just finding the rhythm that works for you. And I think that's really important for us all to understand, isn't it? So we're going to talk about eating today. Are there any key things that have come out from last week? Brilliant. So, Joanne, you've reached your target weight. Well done. That is absolutely brilliant. And starting on maintenance. Um, Brilliant. So, Sal, you enjoyed last week's session. Thank you. This week have closely monitored your protein intake and calculated the grams. Also adding exercise snacks. Yeah, I really like the exercise snacks. I was trying to make a little video about that, but that didn't work very well. I'll try again. Started keeping a food diary. Thank you, Denise and Eileen. That's really great. Not increasing calories, Paloma. Brilliant. So there's been some amazing changes, so that's really good. And Lynn, you're saying you're so proud you haven't eaten any treats at all and didn't feel hungry between your meals. So how fantastic is that? And Carol, you're concentrating on your sleep and trying to get enough. Such an important step. So thank you. So good to hear what you're doing and what you're working towards. Well done, everyone. That's super and really great.
It's
So
nice.
yeah, really, really nice. So before we start talking to you all about the how to eat, and we thought we'd just find out from you a little bit more about your habits and how they work for you in terms of eating. So we are going to share another poll, which is this one. Yes. Cool. So, how often do you eat? There's no right or wrong. We're all different. We all do things differently. We're just interested to know what's working for you at the moment. And we're all different. And I'd really like to know is what you're doing working for you? Are you happy with what you're currently doing? Are you a work in progress? What's your story? Do share with us, and we'll start talking through the slides. But it's really interesting for everyone to know where everybody else is. We will share the results once you've all completed the poll. Again, this is completely anonymous, so don't feel at all like we're going to be sharing any personal information. This is just as much for our interest, so that we know that we're getting our information right and we're supporting you as best we can. Otherwise, we're just like talking to a blank screen. Otherwise, Alison isn't here. So this really helps us, I
It
think.
does. Yeah.
So let's see what's going on here. Can see we've got quite a few people who are eating 3 meals and a couple of snacks a day. That seems to be the winning answer at the moment. A few people who are a bit ad hoc, not quite ready to do the planning or haven't got the mind set or the space in your life to do that planning. I know how that feels sometimes. Snacking, what's going on? At least once a day, 48% of you are at least once a day. A few times a week, 25%. Really interesting. Really interesting. Never, 3%. That's just one person so far. So thank you. When do you snack the most? Gosh, this one, I love this one. So guess where that most exciting time for snacking is, everyone? It's in the evening when we're watching TV. I wonder if we should all stop watching TV. I wonder if our snacking habits would change. And are you eating mindfully? We're going to talk all about why this is something to put some thinking into today. So thank you so much. We got about sort of 75% of you have taken part in the poll so far. So I'll leave it there for another couple of minutes and we'll move on and look at what we're talking about today. So we're talking about the circadian rhythm and why this is such an important aspect and very unspoken about and overlooked, I would say, in terms of weight management. As we know, we operate on a 24-hour clock. We all do, wherever we live in the world. So this is just how it is. And I'm going to share those results just so you can see what's going on for everyone here. And our circadian rhythm is essentially our body's internal clock. It's our timekeeper. It repeats on a 24-hour cycle. And interestingly enough, how we lose weight, how our body works for us physiologically is very impacted by that 24-hour clock. So this is why it's an important thing to start thinking about in terms of your eating habits. What we know from the research is that regular meal times help us to sort of balance our circadian rhythm a little bit more easily and can improve insulin sensitivity. And one of the things we talk about a lot in the weight loss webinars is about insulin sensitivity because that is quite a big key for many, many people in supporting weight management, whether that's losing weight, maintaining weight. The same exists for all of us. If we think about our meal timing and we fit it into our natural eating, waking and sleep cycle, it can really help support how our metabolism works in our body, our metabolic health, and also weight management. So the research tells us this is a tricky one. So when we're thinking about snacking in the evening, this is where it might be a bit of a flaw to the plan. Eating aligned with daylight improves insulin sensitivity. It also helps weight loss. Isn't that interesting? So we need to be thinking, gosh, okay, let's eat in daylight then. Why is this so important? Well, this is why it's so important. So if you're maintaining, it's not about being perfect, it's about rhythm, it's about regular meal timing, and actually about predictability. You can do a little bit of jiggling around because I think we all like to not be having exactly the same times every day, but actually just having some sort of pattern and regularity is really important. So, eating early shows that if we have breakfast earlier in the day, it can boost our weight loss. A higher calorie breakfast can also help to enhance our insulin sensitivity and may help to enhance weight loss. So, if you're somebody who's predominantly eating most of your food later in the day, maybe think about where you could make some changes and switch things around. It may give you a bit of a boost. Late night eating or eating late regularly can really impact our insulin sensitivity in a not so helpful way and disrupt our metabolic health. So that's really interesting. I find this fascinating, and the more I read about it, the more fascinating I find it, to be honest. So, going to bed and waking up at the same time every day not only can it help with your sleep cycle, but it can help with your circadian rhythm and that circadian reset. And that all ties into somebody said there, Carol, you said you were working on your sleep. So, light exposure on your eyes first thing in the morning can really help to stimulate your circadian rhythm as well. So, if, for example, you are really struggling with all of this and you're a late in the day eater because of lifestyle, maybe you could think about just putting a few more of your energy requirements first thing in the morning. And if you're someone like me, I'm very prone to snacking when I'm watching the TV. I think I get quite bored, if I'm really honest. So I think I need to do something at the same time, like have a journal there, or maybe some crochet or knitting. Not that I'm very good at either of those, but it might just keep me entertained. And I think it's about recognizing our patterns and what is tripping us up. Don't you find this fascinating, Alison? What does everyone think? I love.
I'm just listening to you, Ruth, thinking, why do you watch the television then if it bores you?
Oh, I only watch things by, just sometimes when you're tired and you can't really be bothered to do anything else, you just flop, don't you? I can just like,
Yeah.
and I can't, if I'm restricted and I can't get out, I think I'm just about to set up my rowing machine. So I'm hoping that that will be my evening activity when I am bored
There
instead.
you go. Just going back to circadian rhythm, though, there are a couple of challenges with that, aren't there? Sort of the way our society functions, the clocks go back. Restaurants, it's very much the done thing to go out for dinner later in the evening, and all of those sort of societal conformities and what we're pushed into doing can very much get in the way of this. But do you know what? My sister very much is into the circadian rhythm, and she gets up every day at 5:30, and she's never tired. I do not
Amazing.
know how she does it. She never lies in, not even when she's got a day off. So yeah, it certainly does do something.
Amazing, isn't it? So I guess, yeah, well, how interesting. And if she feels really well and that works for her, then good for her. It's obviously perfect. So we wanted to just mention a little bit about time restricted eating, and thank you for your comments in the chat box. I've been reading them while Alison's been speaking, not ignoring you really, Alison. So time restricted eating is a really useful pattern to really think about fitting around this circadian rhythm. It can really also help to improve our appetite regulation, so it can help with leptin sensitivity and normalize leptin and ghrelin, our sort of hunger and our fullness hormones. So this is really interesting. So we want to just encourage you to be thinking, okay, let's try and establish an eating window. If you're somebody who's sort of starting early in the morning and then snacking later on in the evening, then it might be that your gap between when you finish eating in the evening or in the night is quite short between then and when you start eating again the following morning. So if that's the case, it's really worth thinking about when the kitchen's going to close, when you're going to stop your snacks. So the sort of common patterns around time restricted eating are these that are on the slide. So quite often they would be that people would be having a 12-hour eating window. So your sort of fridge, if you like, will open at 7 in the morning and close at 7 in the evening or whatever time works for you. It could be that you have a 14-hour overnight fast, so you then have a 10-hour eating window. So maybe you go from something like 9 in the morning till 7 in the evening, or 8 in the morning till 6 in the evening, whichever works around your lifestyle. And then for some people, they find that the 16-hour fast really works for them. I think it depends on life stage and also what's going on in terms of stress as to what works for you. And you may need to flex around and just play with this idea and find the sort of eating window that works for you. These aren't simply restrictive. I would say the most beneficial to start with is that 12-hour overnight break. So, really, just getting that mindset that actually for 12 hours you're going to give your body a complete break from not eating. But interesting, the research says that if we can eat within a sort of less wide window, then it can really help with appetite control and insulin sensitivity. But I think we all have to start from where we are. We know that also it's quite good to introduce a little bit of variation around this. So it could be that actually one day or 2 or 3 days a week you'll do a 12-hour window, a couple of days a week you might do an 8-hour window, and just that can really help our metabolism have sort of an element of flexibility, which can really help in terms of just keeping everything sort of fresh and working well for us. It's not for everyone. There are some people we would recommend don't consider this if you're pregnant or breastfeeding, and not for children at all, not for people who have type 1 diabetes, unless they've got some very clear medical support on board. So really think about you, whether this is relevant to you, whether this is something that you think you've tried before, you want to bring back in, and we really think it can be helpful. So yes. Thinking then, following through, this sort of works really nicely with the whole alternate day fasting, which is a sort of type of eating that was very popularized by the late Michael Mosley. And again, this is sort of like a pattern of alternate day fasting. So instead of having that, well, you can combine all of these approaches actually, but what you would be doing with this alternate day fasting is actually reducing your calories down on a couple of days a week. So you would work out what your caloric requirements are for weight management, weight maintenance, weight loss, whatever it is you're aiming to do. And then on a couple of days a week, you could take that down to around, a significant drop in your calories, and maybe down to 50% of your calorie requirements. And this has been found to be sometimes helpful for people when they get stuck in a weight loss plateau. So again, just having a couple of days, just moving things around, just giving your body a bit of a surprise, changing your metabolism can really be helpful. And it can also really help in terms of reducing feelings of monotony, deprivation, because it could be that one day a week you allow yourself to have maybe a few extra calories or a really nice treat that you feel that you can't have because you're on a diet. We want to really get you away from that mindset. We want you to be thinking about eating healthily, enjoying the treats when you have them, having them less often. And again, this sort of type of approach has been shown to help with weight loss and with insulin sensitivity. And again, we're all different. So different people will find different approaches work for them. And it's really obviously important that you are eating in a way where you are getting the nutritional requirements that your body needs. So you want to also be thinking not just about the macronutrients that you're eating, but also those vitamins, the minerals. It's really important to be eating in a way that your sort of food intake is really balancing for you. But this can be something, and also for people who are in maintenance, this can be a really nice approach that can just keep things ticking along and keep you where you want to be in terms of just maintaining that weight that you've lost. Or, if you want to have a sort of mini break and you're going on holiday, this might work around a holiday as well. So it's nice to have different tools available. I think it's really important. So let's see what you're saying. Mm. Okay, so I'm going to pick up on some of these because they look like they're bigger things that we can pick up on in the Q&A section at the end. Okay, cool. So Alison, let's move on.
Yeah, I just wanted to add to that, if I may, Ruth, that and everybody, that fasting isn't about making yourselves feel uncomfortable. It should be something that you can manage and not result in you really struggling to get through the day, because actually that won't necessarily be helpful, and you're likely to be setting yourself up to fail.
Yeah, and if you are feeling really deprived, you're likely to overeat. That's what the research says, isn't it? So you're really
Yeah.
great point. Yeah.
Yeah, just to hone that in. Please don't be unkind to yourselves. Um, so moving on to rest and digestion. Now chewing, and I know I've probably in amongst Ruth and Sam and Sarah as well, the importance of making sure you chew and really enjoy your food is a really crucial element. And of course, this chewing is the first is the first stage of digestion. Of course, the GI tract, the gastrointestinal intestinal tract, starts from the mouth, and as we know, goes all the way through to the very end. So be mindful about not rushing your eating process. So food, enjoy your food, make it an event if you can. I know a lot of us do rush, rush, rush many times throughout the day, but if we can make eating an enjoyable time of the day, even if it's just one of your meals throughout that day, then that would really go towards being able to maintain your healthy eating and not seeing it so much as a chore, because actually we should be enjoying our food. And it's really important to understand that our bodies, our system, our GI tracts want to enjoy your food as well, and to be able to work and do their job properly, all those organs inside us, it needs to receive your food fully chewed from the beginning. As I've alluded to, chewing is the first mechanical step in digestion. And if we do chew our food well, it becomes easier to break down and digest. And can also, as such, enhance nutrient absorption and increase our hormone sensitivity, including both leptin and insulin, as Ruth has mentioned before. Eating fiber, protein, and fat at each meal will help you feel fuller for longer and enable you to not need to snack. But of course, they've got to be the right fats. And we all know that fibre can fill us up and make us more satisfied for longer. Aim to allow 4 to 5 hours between meals if you can, to allow your gut time to reset, and that's really important. It needs time to adequately digest before your next meal. And again, this is essential for good nutrient absorption. And then allowing time after your final meal before bed, already sort of touched on this already, can optimize energy usage of the meal. So there is less excess energy needing to be stored, and also has been found to assist with better quality of sleep. Sleep comes into it. Ideally 3 hours, or a small mindful snack if needed, but not a large meal. and in maintenance, because we know a lot of our customers now are in maintenance phases of their weight loss journey. So if you are at that point, mindful eating also prevents a gradual creep. So noticing fullness and satisfaction helps sustain results longer term, so helping to prevent unconscious overeating. And you may find that you still experience psychological cravings, of course, and I don't think that's exclusive to people just trying to lose weight. That's the case with most of us. And psychological cravings can often occur as a result of an emotional response to an event. And we do talk a lot about this in our cravings webinar, don't we, Ruth?
Yeah, we really do. And interestingly, I mean, this whole chewing and the whole taking your time over food, I think, there are ways of doing that. And what I will often recommend is just making sure you've chewed all of your food to a baby food consistency, or even there used to be a term called Fletcherism, which was all around chewing. And they would recommend a minimum of 30 chews per mouthful. And I think sometimes it can be really helpful just to sit and challenge yourself and see how many times you actually do chew before you swallow, whether you're using your mouth as an opportunity to really mix your food up with your saliva to get that maximum breakdown, maximum absorption. It's such an important and very overlooked step. And in our mad, mad world that we're all living in, where we're super busy and always moving on to the next thing before we finish the last one, it can be so overlooked, can't it, Alison? So I think, yeah, our challenge for you is maybe think about this week.
It can, and also some of you suffer with gastric reflux. Chewing your food, ensuring you chew it properly is very beneficial to minimize the symptoms of that too.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and your stomach loves fully chewed food. So the ultimate message is slow down. Um, chew, learn to eat mindfully, sit at your table, make it an event, put your knife and fork down between mouthfuls, take a sip of water, whatever it is that you find is helpful to assist you in slowing down. Eating too fast can lead to weight gain. And maybe not many of you realise that, but there has been enough recent research to evidence that people who do eat fast are twice as likely to be overweight. Isn't that incredible? Or obese than people who eat slowly. And this maybe because those who ate speedily consumed more calories overall. So I'm sure there is a logic behind that somewhere. Conversely, eating slowly can contribute to greater enjoyment of the food that you're eating and also help with weight loss. So, when you think of all the strategies that we talk about in these webinars, this is something that is quite, well, in theory, I'm guessing, is quite easy to implement. As long... Are you disagreeing with me, Ruth?
No, I just like the theory. Yeah,
Pardon?
it's a good theory. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, yeah, if it works. Um, but even if it doesn't, enjoying food, we mustn't lose sight of it. So, food and eating is such an important part of our everyday. There are many, many cultures that use food as a way to get together, make social events really important and hospitable and enjoyable and welcoming. Food is a lot, it's a lot in our society and in our lifestyles. So enjoy it. So take a look and see how quickly you finish your food. If you are in a family home living with other people, are you the fastest in your family, for example? Try and gauge it as well on how quickly or how slowly other people are eating, which might be helpful. Slowing down eating also can increase satiety, so make you feel fuller and more content with your meal. And once at a goal, once you've reached your goal, you can continue balanced meals with protein and fibre at every meal, which reduces appetite hormones and supports muscle maintenance. So, and again, going back to those of us who are on our maintenance phase, please do focus on satiety. So going back to protein and fibre, fibre and protein, I know we talk about that a lot, but both of those keep hunger low and preserve lean mass, which keeps metabolism higher longer term. And there's a lot of, or yeah, research that's been done on that particular element.
Yeah, it's fascinating, isn't it? I think it's really helpful to be sitting and thinking about these things, isn't it? And I
Yeah.
guess it sort of like follows through, like we would say, for those of you who are regular snackers, or maybe a little bit more ad hoc in how you come together with all this food malarkey in life. I mean, there's a guarantee that we are all going to need to eat at some point in the day, isn't there? So maybe some thinking about timing of food, how often you're going to eat, how often you're going to snack, maybe making sure you're filling yourself up enough at your meal times that you probably don't need to snack, or are you snacking because of an emotional reason or because of a craving? Really try and figure out what's going on for yourselves. We would say just really be aware of your snacks. I mean, in the fullness of time, what we'd love you all to be aiming for is just to be having those snacks as really conscious, mindful treats. And it might be that actually you find when you do a food, Adna, you could perhaps share the food and sort of symptom diary. That would be really great. So for anyone who's sort of struggling, finding that your energy is low or that you're reaching for snacks really regularly because you're hungry, have a look at this document. Maybe try filling it in for a week or so and see if you can find any patterns around your behaviour. Because sometimes it can be that our breakfast is just not robust enough, and then we're snacking always later on in the day. So often what happens first thing in the morning will make a big difference to how we feel in the afternoon or in the evening. But don't forget, every time you eat, your body needs to create some insulin. And every time we create more insulin, just for the sake of a small snack, another sort of mindless episode of eating, then that is going to make it very difficult for us to lose weight. So we can really, really think about this. And I think the thing we also need to think about are those healthy fats. It's not about being restrictive, but I think it's about being mindful. It's about being in the right place for yourself. And actually, what do you want most? To have the snack or to maintain your weight or to lose weight or to get where you want to be in terms of your, body composition, whatever it is that's going on for you. It's relevant for all of us. And if you need, if you'd like the core meal plan or the meal plan, the GLP-1 core meal plan, then do let us know and we'll share those resources with you as well. We're here 100% to support you. So anything that isn't making sense or you need reminding about, just let us know because we're really keen for this to make a difference. And somebody's asked about water, Alison, so let's talk a bit about drinks.
Oh, sorry, I haven't got the chat up there. Oh,
Oh,
drinks.
yeah,
Yeah, sorry, that's me.
yeah.
Okay, think about drinks. Um, so yes, drinks. When thinking about snacks, don't forget to include your drinks in this. And actually, that can be a good strategy if you do fancy snacking. Why not think about having a drink instead? Artificial sweeteners in drinks encourage sugar craving and sugar dependence. So we sort of suggest trying to omit those if you are one of those people who uses sweeteners in their drinks. Sweetness without calories has been found to activate the food reward pathway in the brain, but without calorific content, and this is thought to contribute to increased appetite. Although, sorry, going on to alcohol is thought to lead to weight gain due to the need to detoxify alcohol from your system. So that's a reason why we shouldn't, or at least limit our alcohol if we do like a drop every now and again. Maybe just keep to that one drop. Um, oh yeah, so research published in 2022 found that even moderate alcohol consumption is associated with an increase in visceral fat and abdominal measurement. So, yeah, I'm guessing there are some of you that maybe do measure yourselves around your midline there. Um, so if you are aware of your weight changing in those areas, and you do drink alcohol, then maybe have a think about how that's connected. There is a suggestion that consuming a small amount of red wine may help to reduce visceral fat, and moderate intake of white wine may improve bone mineral density. Um, so yeah, and I know this comes out quite frequently, every now and again. Wine is good for you, wine is bad for you, wine is good for you, and it kind of goes round in circles, doesn't it? And I don't think, Ruth, you'd agree with me. We wouldn't say absolutely cut out your glass of wine or whatever tipple you like to treat yourself with. But it is about maybe cutting down if you do have an awareness that maybe you do have a little bit too much. And again, we can all be guilty of that from time to time. So again, it is just about having that awareness and putting in place a strategy that can help you reduce. Water, we bang on about water a lot, and I know there is a webinar dedicated to water, isn't there, Ruth? Am I right in that? Water intake. Um, so research in 2022, again 2022, has found that drinking 1 to 2 glasses of water before a meal can reduce appetite and support weight management. And again, that's sort of another theory that supports reaching for a drink rather than a snack, because I'm sure all of us have experienced it. If we do have a drink, it normally dampers down our hunger. That does work in many cases. So worth thinking about that too.
Yeah, very much. And actually, some research I read recently suggested 500 mils actually with meals could be quite a significant help in terms of really supporting weight loss.
Yeah, I guess it depends how large your glasses are, doesn't it? But yeah,
So yeah,
reasonable sized glasses when we say
like
one to
half a
two.
litre. Yeah, it's sort of like, but if you're way off that, don't just rush into suddenly drinking 1.5 litres. If you're somebody who's only drinking like half a litre a day, just gradually build that amount up, because we really don't want you to become poorly or to disrupt your electrolytes overnight, which could make you feel pretty grotty. So just to recap really and to share our final poll with you. So we've got our end of webinar poll, which is asking you what you might do differently this week based on everything we've talked about today. So yeah, I think that should be shared now. Brilliant. Thanks, Adna. Lovely. So here's a little reminder, a little recap of what we think might be helpful. Maybe start thinking about how often you're eating. Think about the speed at which you're eating, whether you're chewing your food well, whether there's an opportunity to perhaps bring in an overnight gap of 12 hours as a starting point, if that's something that's completely new for you. Or if you're doing that well and you're finding that your weight loss is stagnating, whether you could increase that gap to maybe 12 hours. It's all about you, and this is absolutely not about being in competition with other people. And I think it can be sometimes difficult to remember that, can't it? It is just, we'll all lose weight differently. We're all going to lose it at a different time frame. We'll find there are weeks when we lose weight and there are other weeks when we don't. I've noticed there's a question from somebody who's been sort of like stagnant for a couple of months in terms of their weight, but losing centimeters instead. That can happen, and it's great because maybe we need to take the inference off what the scales are saying all the time, because that can derail us if that's the only thing that we're focusing on. So yeah, have a think about what you might do differently. I can't see the poll anymore. Can you see the poll, Alison?
I can see the poll. Yeah.
Perfect. All right, let's see what people are going to do. And here is a slide with what we have coming up over the next few weeks. And we've got a new webinar coming up, a couple of new webinars. We've got a webinar all about managing ADHD and weight loss, or not managing ADHD, but managing weight loss if you are somebody who has ADHD. And then a new webinar again at the end of November, all around protein, because we're asked a lot about protein. So we thought we'd just do a whole webinar about protein. So we'll see whether that proves to be popular, whether that's something you'll enjoy. When I was writing some stuff earlier this morning, I was thinking maybe we should do a webinar for people who are working shifts because there are lots of things. It's quite
Mm.
difficult, that whole circadian rhythm. I think I was thinking about that for shift workers. It's quite tricky. So maybe thinking about that. So let's see. Lots of people. The key thing that people are going to be doing this week is increasing protein with your meals, thank you, and increasing how much water you drink. There are lots of other things going along as well. So around 40% of you are going to be introducing an eating window every day. Well done. Really like that. You can let us know next week how you're getting on. 20% of you are going to be reducing your snacks. Um, Oh, great. Five of you are going to be stopping eating after dinner. I'm going to add myself into that mix because I have just got into some lazy habits, I think, or some naughty snacking habits in the evening. So I'm joining you. So we'll
Mm.
make that six of us. And I will let you know next week and you can let me know how you're getting on. And let's see. Boosting your intake of vegetables, always good. That is never going to do anyone any harm unless you've got some horrible gut problems going on, in which case you might find that can be uncomfortable. Reducing sugar or sweeteners in drinks, brilliant. Really pleased to hear that. Just pop some fruit into some water. It's amazing. It's all you need to do, just to add a tiny bit of flavour. Makes all the difference. So thank you for that. We are going to come to your questions now. So I'm going to stop sharing the slides. And if there are any webinars you would like, please do let us know if there's anything in particular you would enjoy hearing more about. And we also, Adnan, could you share the webinar feedback link? We have a form. We quite like to hear from you. What's working well for you in these webinars? What you'd like more of? What you'd like less of? So please do let us know, and we're going to come to your questions. Okay. Okay.
I just wanted to, I've just noticed this one, Ruth. Can you confirm that webinar on the 1st of December, getting the best from GLP-1s? Is
Yep, that
everything
is
looking all
happening.
right? Is
Yeah.
that in the evening?
No, it's at lunchtime. As far as I know, I will check. That will be the standard 1 p.m. webinar. And again, it's a new webinar that we've introduced or we're introducing, and that will be 1 o'clock on the 1st of December, which is very soon now, isn't it? It's like only a month away.
It
Um,
is. I think that would be a popular one,
We
Ruth.
have had some issues with the scheduling on Eventbrite. I don't know if it's Eventbrite or if it's us. Fortunately, it's not me, but us is a good term. So we'll make sure that it's definitely one. So I'll also get. I noticed that the ADHD had been put in there for next Tuesday instead of Monday. So I've noticed that. I hadn't noticed the December webinars. So I'll have a look through, make sure their schedules are correct. Great, thank you. So somebody is saying the heavy workload, they have a heavy workload and work in several international time zones, really
Tricky.
hard, that my dinner time can vary over 4 hours. Last night I was finally free to dine at 11:30 p.m. Would healthy snacking while working help? Have no appetite, so don't tend to think of eating when I'm immersed in work. And actually, it's a little bit all around what we were saying, isn't it, Alison? Like if your
Mm.
brain is really busy working, actually all of your blood supply is really working hard on getting your brain functioning. Your digestion is going to be on the back burner. It is actually very common for people to find that they aren't really hungry when they've got that high level concentration going on. From everything I've read, I would recommend that you sort of almost like set yourself up with an eating window based on what's happening today. So whichever time um, band you're working in or which international timescales you're working with, I'd almost say try and plan an eating window of about 10 hours and just plop in, populate 3 meals in that time, set a reminder on your phone and see if that helps for you. And if you're eating at 11:30, then you're going to bed at midnight or 1, it's going to be really difficult for your digestion to cope with that. So try and think about what time of day you're going to be finishing and bring that last meal, if you can, in towards a sort of 2 or 3 hour gap before bed, if you can manage that. And if you really aren't hungry, just go for the light, sustaining foods. So, like some soups and with some protein in, or some boiled eggs, or just really simple things. Some smoked salmon. I don't know if you prefer vegetarian or meat eating type of approach, but it isn't about, you don't have to, you can make it simple, I think. Or
Yeah.
even just yogurt and nuts and fruit. It can be very gentle and light, can't it? Or some overnight oats, have those for your evening meal. There are no rules really. I think we've created all these rules about what we should eat at certain times of the day, but you might want to turn your sort of whole schedule upside down.
Yeah, and just another on that, because we get questions like this when people are taking medications as well, when they're going to different time zones and wanting advice on that. And we tend to say, time is time. It doesn't matter what the clock says. So 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, five, that doesn't change. So, like you said, Ruth, it's about still sticking to those recommended gaps between your eating, but maybe having to shivvy that around a bit depending on what time you go to bed. And also, you have to think, I guess, about what time food is available, if you're eating out a lot, that sort of thing. But try not to get fixated on the clock. Think more so about the gaps between your meals.
Yeah, and getting that sort of before bed break if you can manage that, because you may find you sleep a little bit better for doing that as well. Um, Somebody's saying that nothing that they do seems to stop the evening sort of noise around food. They're taking a weight loss medication. Um, Sometimes, I mean, we have a couple of other webinars that may be worth you looking at previous recordings of, or coming to the next run of those around cravings and also the emotional aspect of weight management. Because food, many of us have very strong emotional connections with food. We're also very much creatures of habit, I would say. And we are also, and this is very relevant, the story that we tell ourselves. So, if we tell ourselves that we have those strong cravings every evening, we almost reinforce behavior. I'm not trying to undermine how you're feeling at all, but I think actually we can be quite powerful in terms of what we expect to happen as well if we always expect to be hungry. I would say really nudge up your protein as much as you can. Maybe take it even a little bit over that 1 gram per kilogram of body weight, which we would recommend across the course of a day. So maybe make sure your evening meal has got lots of fiber, some really healthy fats in, and a really good portion of protein, and see how that works. If you're still hungry, make sure that you are doing that whole chewing and taking time to eat, and you're allowing that sort of digestion to happen well for you, and then let us know. And if you're finding that you're craving something in particular, then that's a good indication that it's an emotional craving. If you're starving hungry, then that's completely different. So have a check in with yourself over the next week and let us know. Anything you want to add around that, Alison?
No, well, just again homing in on the starving hungry that you just said, and if you're starving hungry, then it's not right for you because we don't want you to be starving hungry. It's about working out what's good for you, what works for you, so that you don't reach that point where you just feel uncomfortable and rather ghastly.
Yeah, exactly. I can see that somebody's asked about whether we would do a yo-yo dieting after weight loss and preventing yo-yo dieting. We actually have one all about that, and that will be scheduled, I'm sure, over the next couple of months. So yes, and there will be a replay of that that you could tune into if you wanted to see the sort of general advice that we're giving around that. So Adna, if you could share the link to the previous webinar recordings, they're all in a special space on YouTube, so you can have a look at those, um, and they can be helpful in between. We don't unfortunately share the slides, but you will get a link to the replay, so you can listen to the webinar again or watch it again if you wish to. Yes. So somebody, Alison, is saying that they generally are finding that food feels really less desirable and dealing with some side effects, presumably from some medications, probably a GLP-1, I would imagine. So if you're still here, please do clarify for us if there's anything we're missing here. So eating occurs when I actually feel I'm a bit hungry. That's a general thing, but some days are easier. It can be really difficult, that sort of settling down on a weight loss medication. Alison, any advice you'd want to give?
Currently feels less desirable. I wonder if that, again, without all the details, is that due to lack of appetite or wonder, or are you just not, is food just not your fancy much at all? Um, I imagine it's very much associated with your reduced appetite. Um, Yeah, and dealing with side effects, that does make it extra difficult. And it's important to allow your system to get used to the drug. I mean, obviously, again, we don't know how long you've been taking the medication for. And if you said you've been taking it for months and months, and you're still getting side effects, I'd be a little bit more concerned. But if it still is early days, then it doesn't hurt to be a bit topsy-turvy while you're finding your way. You need to find a rhythm when you start on these medications, and sometimes it does take time to understand what's going to work for you. But most of all, your system needs to get used to that GLP if that is what you're taking, or it
Sounds like
could
it's a
be.
Minjare from, so I think someone just put a comment, so hopefully that relates to you. So it's a
Oh,
Minjare.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's important to allow your system to get used to that GLP-1. And if that does mean altering your eating patterns, despite what we've said today, just for a little while you get into it, then that's absolutely fine. Again, it's about being kind to yourself. Don't be hard on yourself. Once you've established a pattern, and your system, your body has got used to that drug that you're now taking, that your stomach gets used to having less food enter it, and your whole digestive system has a little rejig about because it knows it's taking in less, then you will find a way to slowly integrate all the tips that we've been offering and suggesting throughout the different webinars.
Yeah, very much so. And also, what I would say from everything we have learned from working with people who are taking weight loss medications is that the key thing is not to race up through the doses. If a lower dose is working for you, stay on that dose. And everything we've talked about today is relevant, but right now you might need to put that on hold. Like Alison was saying, maybe just do some small, like half size meals. That might be all you can manage to begin with. Because one of the things the GLP-1 does is it slows down your digestion. So everything is working a little bit more slowly. And make sure you're drinking loads of water as well, and because that can really help with some of those really less pleasant side effects. We can pick up on all those things as well in the GLP-1 webinar.
And chew, chew, chew.
Choo choo choo, like a little train. The little steam train. Imagine you're a little steam train. Thanks, Alison, for the chewing advice. Somebody's just checking that they're eating breakfast at 9. Thank you for letting us know, and finishing around 7. So that will be a 10-hour eating window, so that's absolutely fine. So by those eating windows, yes, it can be a bit confusing. So 12 hours fasting overnight means you'd have like when you start eating, whatever time of day that is, you've got 12 hours in which to consume all of your meals. If you want to go for that 10-hour window, again, from wherever you start, you give yourself that 10-hour window to get your 2 or 3 meals in. And again, with that 8-hour window, the same principles apply. Sometimes people on 8-hour windows find that they manage 2 meals and a snack, and we're all different. So, sort of like spread it out, maybe 3 meals, 1 meal every 4 hours, starting through to finishing with that 8-hour window can work, but you have to be very organized and your life has to fit around that pattern. And actually, I just think there are times of life when these things work and other times of life when they just don't. So, just play around with those timings and find the pattern that's going to work for you for the next couple of weeks. We're often hearing about this, so thank you for asking. Somebody saying their weight loss has stuck. And for the last 3 months, Alison, they've been taking Manjaro for 18 months, and midway through, second month of Wegovy, lost a considerable amount of weight. Well done, 52 pounds,
Mm,
and have a BMI of 27. So would ideally like to lose a little bit more. It's okay. Plateaus happen. I think you're in a plateau. Your body, all of the research I've read, and I'm sure it's true for you as well, Alison, is actually it's very normal for our bodies to hit a point at which they just recalibrate. They're just almost recalibrating their set point. So actually, that plateau is a really positive step, I think. It's a way of your body just thinking, okay, I'm now going to function and I'm going to stick at this lower weight. And actually, in terms of maintaining, sticking at that weight is crucial, for a long-term maintenance plan. And if
mm,
you've done all of the work around eating and, all of the things that we recommend, have you been doing anything to make sure that your body mass, is working for you? Are you making sure your body composition is, as healthful as it could be to support that weight loss maintenance and to take you those next couple of steps? Have a look at the webinar that Alison and Sam ran last week, which is all about your metabolism, about how to eat and how to move your body to support your muscle mass, because that is such a massive missing element of most of the discussions in the wider world. It's becoming a little bit more mainstream, isn't it? But for the last 20 years, it's really been missing. And I think it's so crucial. If you're somebody who's had a history of weight loss, weight on, weight loss, weight on, it could be that your body composition has shifted and you're slightly more prone to having perhaps a higher fat mass, in which case it can be you've just got to change that body composition. That's going to be the thing that's going to get you where you want to be. If that, I hope that makes sense. Is there anything else that would be helpful to say around that, Alison, do you think?
Um, just ensuring that you're also taking on board the lifestyle changes that are necessary um, to help with or to complement rather is the word I was looking for, the use of treatment and thinking about actually could I do just a little bit more movement throughout the day? Uh, Going back to our comment in the chat earlier, can I sleep better? Find out or work out a way that you can sleep better. Um, Drink more water, all of these other bits and bobs that we do talk about quite frequently throughout the webinars. Maybe there's some of those you can review and improve upon possibly, and that might help your weight as well to start to fall off again. Maybe not as quickly as it did before, um, but to help you with that composition that Ruth has just mentioned.
Yeah, and also, I mean, as somebody who 100% believes in lifestyle medicine, we run these webinars for you because actually what we believe is that that side of it, the changing your habits, the learning to eat in a way that actually supports your health, to learn to eat in a way that is mindful, to learn how to sleep better, to get your bodies moving, to drink the healthy things. They're the things that are going to be there in the fullness of time. So it's absolutely crucial to try and work on those elements of your lifestyle, which are getting in your way, whether it's stress or sleep or how you eat, or there are many things that can get in our way, aren't they? Or snacking in the evening with the TV. Maybe that's the one thing that will make the biggest change. You don't need to take a weight loss medication. Many people choose to. That's absolutely fine. But you can do all of this without that as well. So I think, it's crucial to believe that you can make that difference. And we 100% know that you can. It's about finding the keys and which fits and which locks for you, I'd say. Wouldn't you agree, Alison?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say stop watching television.
Yeah, that's going to be mine. Apart from the final episode of Traitors, which I have to watch this week.
Okay, watch that and then maybe you can
Stop.
give yourself a challenge.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh no, I don't really. Um, And somebody's just said, final comments, thank you from Denise and Eileen, that actually leaving your devices outside of your bedroom have really helped the quality of your sleep so much more than you thought they would. What a great way to finish a webinar. Thank you so much for being here, Alison. Thank you, Adna, for your support. Thank you to all of us for all of you for joining us today. And we've loved being here with you. We will be back next week and we're going to be looking at managing ADHD and weight loss. If that doesn't feel relevant to you, but you would want to come for some support anyway, or to bring questions, please do. We very much love to support you as much as we possibly can. Bye, everyone.
Bye bye.
Bye.